So once again, my name's Quentin. Derek, nice to meet you. If you don't mind me asking, have you been a bricklayer like your whole career? That's all you've ever done?
Yep.
Okay, so how did you get into that?
So I actually started going to work with my dad. I was about 6. A lot of summers and weekends growing up spent with him on the job site. Straight out of high school, I went into masonry. Had my ticket by the time I was about 22. So that was in 2002. So I've been in it for almost 25 years since I had my ticket. And pretty much my whole life, though.
Did you do more commercial or industrial?
Growing up with my dad, it was all residential stuff for like private homeowners, that kind of stuff. Once I got out of high school, I signed my apprenticeship with a large commercial company. From there, I worked all over Alberta on everything from high-rises, schools, luxury homes. So I've got a pretty good depth of experience.
How did you go from the field to being in a teaching or an instructor setting?
So I love inspiring people. I love watching the light go on. I started getting involved with skills, doing try-a-trade stuff, and that kind of progressed into doing some other workshops, whether it be for tradespeople or architects, engineers. And just through my connections in the industry, I've had some pretty cool opportunities. And then in 2019, the opportunity came up to teach at SAIT. So from 2019 until 2024, I was teaching the apprenticeship program at SAIT.
You being an instructor here at the local one,
Yep.
If I'm a new guy and I've been doing this, let's say first day on the job, we'll tackle that. My first day on the job, what are tools I am going to need? Or what are tools I should have? What are things I should probably have on my person to be ready for success on the first day?
Most people start out as laborers before they're offered an apprenticeship. Being a laborer, you're kind of the bricklayer's sidekick. So right off the bat, you should be having your Sharpie, your pencil, tape measure, knife, and hammer in your pocket all the time or on you.
What kind of hammer would you recommend?
Usually a brick hammer. It's got a blade on one end. Just to be able to take care of all the little things, there's a lot of laboring that goes on. Whether that's opening material, pallets, or boxes, making mortar, mixing materials, stuff like that.
What about things like steel toe boots, safety glasses, hard hats?
Pretty much every job site, you need your full PPE, your glasses, steel toe boots, gloves for a lot of different situations are recommended. Hard hats, residential, a lot of people get away without hard hats.
And it can be short sleeved on residential, or is it long sleeve?
No, it's you can be short sleeves. It's kind of a Wild West still in the residential market, if you will. And then you would need any task specific PPE, dust mask or respirator, fall arrest equipment, training on forklifts, aerial work platforms, that kind of stuff.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it is 1,600 hours I have to accumulate before I can go to school, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I start my apprenticeship. I'm a laborer. And then I get indentured and I want to become an apprentice. I get my 1,600 hours. I'm going to school.
Yep.
Are there other things, for example, like tools, maybe things I'm going to need for school? Like what kind of things do I need to set myself up for that I will do well in school?
You need the dedication. You need to find in yourself the commitment to carry it through if that's what you choose to do. Going to school is the same thing as getting a job. You're on WCB, so you want to be punctual, complete all your tasks and assignments, that kind of stuff. And for tool-wise, you need your basic trowel, hammer, tape measure, gauge tape, some jointing tools, finishing tools, and then 2-foot level, 4-foot level. Most institutions have tool rooms to borrow tools from. There's a lot of tools that are very specific to the individual user. So whether it's the angle of a handle, the size of a blade, stuff like that. So if an apprentice can borrow tools in the beginning and find out what fits for them and their ergonomics, that's more beneficial.
When we're talking about your guys' schooling, so like we'll say like level 1, 2, and I think 3 levels, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what are some things you would recommend? Like for example, academically, what kind of maths, if there's maths or maybe physics, whatever it may be, what are some things you would recommend to someone who maybe struggles to brush up on and refresh themselves with, basically getting themselves ready?
I believe there's a pre-qualification exam online with Trade Secrets Alberta. So they can do that. If they don't have a high school diploma or any other kind of trade ticket, then they kind of have to start there. And then most facilities or post-secondaries will offer tutoring services. In your first year intake, you get the Canadian National Textbook, which everybody in Alberta uses for bricklaying education. So we all learn out of that textbook. It's all up to the Red Seal standard and use that for all 3 years. There's tons of information, even useful once you gain your ticket and you're out in the field.
So with level 1, what kind of stuff would you be doing for practical?
So practical learning and understanding how to use your level is very important because we build a lot of things with just a level. So
It's like plumb, level, square.
square, yes, or range or alignment. So are the faces of all the units perfectly aligned with each other? And then we move into setting out bigger walls, longer walls, learning how to use chalk lines and other measuring tools, lasers,
That's
stuff
like
like that.
when you progress, or this is all within level one.
That's mostly level one. There's a lot of focus on safety in level one. A lot of it is basic material and tool understanding. We deal with a broad range of materials, whether you're residential, commercial, which we call red brick, or refractory, which is the industrial. So just becoming familiar with, the characteristics of the materials, what tools to use to install them or dress them.
You finish level one, you're all done. You go back out in the field for the next year. Busy year, you get your 1,600 hours, you go back to school. You're banging out your apprenticeship quickly. After you do level one, you're going for level two. What kind of stuff are you going to learn in your level two? And are there going to be different tools I need to acquire for level two?
Yep. So with each year, the math gets progressively more challenging. You need
No more 2+2?
Nope, you need to understand a little bit of geometry. In second year, we start doing arch layouts. So you have to understand the math and the equations to achieve different types of arches, profiles. And also a second year, there's a large focus on building code. So structural masonry, building codes, and just understanding once again the requirements for our materials.
What kind of tools would I have to worry about for level two in comparison to what I acquired? And I'm going to assume, because I'm not in your guys' trade, realistically, I'll probably already have those tools or have acquired them. But what am I looking at getting from what I should already have?
So if you didn't show up to first year with a basic toolkit, once again, your levels, jointers, hammer, trowels, measuring devices, there's not a whole lot of other tools you need. It's just understanding, once again, what we're trying to do with the materials for the most part. So taking the math equations that we will learn in the classroom and apply them to the practical projects in the shop.
So basically, within your first 2 years of your apprenticeship, you should have acquired, for the most part, most of the tools you will need for your career.
Yeah.
So we finish our second year. We're going back in. We're getting our third year. What's going to be different about this year with the schooling versus second?
This is the high pressure year. If, it's the culmination of your apprenticeship and your experience with your employer or
And
employers.
just to make sure, this is the final year, right? Okay.
Yeah. So in Alberta, historically, for the last 40 years or more, the final project for your apprenticeship is to build a functioning fireplace. There's not a lot of fireplaces built in industry these days. The project itself is a culmination of all kinds of things that we have learned to do over the 3 years. So it's setting refractory brick, corbelling brick, building stuff in or out, patterns in the final design, and then you're given a set of blueprints, so you have to understand the blueprints as well.
Okay. So level three, you finish that, you're completed, you have your ticket, you're done school at that point. With someone such as yourself who's been in the industry for so long, what is some advice you would give to someone both who is coming into the industry, firstly on the job, and to someone who is a fresh ticketed journeyman or journey person, if you will? What would you say to both of them?
So for starters, somebody just entering the trade, of course, your pay isn't as high as a journey person. So learn to budget. Through all 3 years of apprenticeship, I love watching people grow and the person they turn into over those years. They mature. Some of them have families, get married, all that, life changes. So in the beginning, learn to budget. There's a lot of tools you have to buy. A lot of bricklaying tools aren't cheap. You can buy cheap ones, but you want to buy quality because our trade is tough on tools. Apply for those grants and scholarships, everyone you can. It's easy money. It's free money. And then, through your journey through apprenticeship, rely on your peers and the other tradespeople you work with for encouragement, support. And then when you're leaving the trade, I'm under the belief that, as a bricklayer, I'm one of the best ambassadors for our industry. So go out there and be a champion for what we do. We build durable, long-lasting projects. Go out and spread the good word, I guess, and encourage those coming up behind you through their apprenticeship to, stick with it and support them and share your experiences with them.
Well, I just want to say once again, thank you so much for your time. I didn't mean to take up more than I did.
Not a problem.
And I appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit here and explain this to me as well as anyone else who may be watching this. So Derek, thank you so much.
Thank you.